Shabbat is always a time for gratitude because of the beauty of the day and the suspension of all the worries and cares that we have in the course of the week as we transition from a wonderful breakfast. Thank you, Dr. Ginsburg, for, and the Rose Brothers, of course. Thank you for organizing and providing us with breakfast. And so now that we're fully satisfied in our stomachs, we're able to focus much better on prayer. When I was in the yeshiva, and when I was Orthodox, you didn't eat first. You would pray first. The idea being that you would put God ahead of your physical needs. What they didn't take into account is that when you're hungry, it's hard to concentrate. It's hard, the stomach is like this, and, no matter how spiritual you're trying to be, it's very hard when the stomach is growling or you're going through caffeine withdrawal and you're not having your normal routine. So I find it much better myself to eat ahead of time, and I'll do my tshuva I'll do my repentance on Yom Kippur. All right, let us begin then with a prayer really of gratitude, thanking God for this beautiful Shabbat day, page 287. We give thanks to you, O God, for this Shabbat day, which unites us as a community of faith and hope.
For the holiness
of Shabbat, which can lead us to fulfill the best that is in us, we give thanks. For the memories of Shabbat enriched by generations of our people who observed it, and from it drew courage to face hardship and light to banish darkness, we are grateful.
We offer thanks for the peace of Shabbat, the day consecrated to family level.
O God, our turning to you exalts our humanity. You are the joy of our life, the source of its greatness, its power, and its beauty.
Help us, O God, to find inspiration in the coming week. Help us to find peace within ourselves and one another.
And let us turn now to page 312 with the traditional Chatzi Kaddish, followed by the Baruch Hu on page 313.
Vit gadol shmei Rabbi, v'am hadivrach yutei v'am lichnach utei, b'chai yechon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chai yedechol beit Yisrael, Bagala, u'v'zman kariv v'miru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mivarach, le'olam u'lam me'amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalei, v'yitalal, shmei dikodesha bril, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nekemata, damiran mi'alma v'miru. Amen.
Please rise for the Baruch Hu, page 313.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam. Amen.
Be seated. And let us join together on page 317 in the middle of the page a prelude to the Shema. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear in every land and every age. Your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways, and yet, O God, you are one unifier of humanity. We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully, we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we return to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael b'yahava. Please rise for the Shema, page 318. You may be seated. We continue now with the V'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשתם לילות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אלוהי אלוהיכם.
Let us join in prayer, page 320 at the bottom of the page. The prayer of the tzitzit. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them that each generation shall form a fringe on the corner of their clothes and place a blue cord on the corner fringe. When this fringe catches your eye, you will remember all the mitzvot of the Eternal and do them, and not follow after your heart and your eyes which draw you astray, that you may remember and do all my mitzvot, and be consecrated to your God. I am Adonai, who bore you up from the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai, your God. And as an expression of that love, of that eternal love, the Mi Chamocha, page 322.
So I just feel like it's a joyous love, so we'll do a little upbeat Mikha about that. We haven't done it a little bit, so. Ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba ba bim bam, ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba bim bam. Ay 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 ay, ya ba bim bam. Ay 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 ay, ya ba bim bam. Mi chamocha nehedar bakodesh, mi chamocha v'elim Adonai, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh, shira chadesha shibihu gulim, shira chadesha shibihu gulim, leishimcha leishimcha asafat hayam, leishimcha leishimcha asafat hayam, yahakat kulam yabah hodu, 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 viliku ve'amru, Adonai imo le'olam va'ed, Adonai imo le'olam va'ed.
Sur Yisrael, kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, ufdeichenu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael, go aleinu, Adonai tzvaot shemo, kadosh Yisrael. Rock of Israel, rise in support of Israel, and redeem Judah and Israel as you promised. Our Redeemer Adonai Tzvaot, God of hosts, is your name. Blessed are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, God Yisrael. And please rise for the tefillah, beginning on page 323.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 324.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Mahora, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Veitzrat Zerah.
Page 325.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מחלחל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומחיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך במית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Page 26 and 327, the Kedusha, the Holiness Prayer.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כששים התשעים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מדגישים לך בארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומחנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לענך חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, ונצח נצחים קדושך תקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו ליבנו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue in silent meditation. Either you may be seated and, of course, in your own prayers, or you may stand as is your custom. We continue page 328 all the way through to page 337. And we continue now with the Oseh Shalom, page 337.
Oseh Shalom, Bimroma, Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'al kol Yisrael, V'yimeru, Amen. Say shalom, bimroma, say shalom, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen.
And our service continues now with the Torah service, beginning with Mitzion, which may be found on page 364. We'd like a volunteer to come and open the ark and to hold the Torah. Any volunteers? Anthony, please. Page 364. And please rise.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah,
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'devar Adonai miRushalayim.
Baruch shenatan Torah.
Page 366, top of the page. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato. The top of page 366, beginning with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Echad.
Echad Eloheinu,
Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlul Adonai iti, umarom mashemo yakdav.
Lecha
Adonai hagidula v'hagivura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod.
Ki chol b'shamayim uvaretz, Ki chol b'shamayim uvaretz, Lecha
Adonai ha'malacha v'hamim na'aseh
lechol lerosh. You may be seated. The Torah reading for this morning is taken once again from the book of Deuteronomy. It is the parsha called Akev. It's the third Torah reading in the book of Deuteronomy as we inch closer and closer to the completion of the Torah. If you want to follow in the plot, though of course our readings are relatively short, you may follow it on page 1379 in your plot Chumashim. There may be some around. There may also be some outside. There we go. So I think everybody can follow if they wish. And once again, it is Moses's ongoing sermon, if you will, a series of speeches before the children of Israel as they begin their journey, where Moses will not be with them as they journey across the Jordan and into the promised land. And the admonition is a very interesting one, beginning with this portion, where it says, that it begins, and it shall be that if you will hearken, cleavingly hearken to these mishpatim, to these rules or judgments. It's always hard to interpret accurately. The word mishpatim is used interchangeably to mean judgments. It's also used in the sense of laws. And do them, as it continues on, and do them, and Vishamar, God, your God will watch over you, the covenant, and with the chesed, the loving kindness that he swore unto your ancestors. He will love you, he will bless you, he will multiply you, blessing you exceedingly, Moses goes on. And it's an interesting one, verse, because you have this notion of God being a protector, but not only a protector unto you, but habrit, the covenant, the special relationship that is described in the Torah between God and the children of Israel. And as we know, if we borrow the term covenant as understood in the law, that the covenant is something that, unlike a contract, that if a contract is broken, then the terms and conditions no longer apply, but a covenant goes on regardless. And so there's a little bit of a difference here. There's a little bit of a different nuance here. That so long as we observe or guard these laws, not only will God guard this covenant, the covenant of protection, but there's also an implied sense that even if we do not follow the laws, because of the word covenant being used, that God will continue to observe or protect this covenant. And sometimes, of course, in times of trouble, particularly times of trouble for the Jewish people, we think that perhaps has been argued by other faith traditions that God no longer enjoys this covenant, that God has broken this covenant. But we don't believe that really no matter what, we will keep the covenant, or the covenant in some way is being kept. And probably the greatest proof of that at least on our end, the covenant is being kept. All one has to do is go back 75 years. It would be very easy for us as a collective Jewish people to turn away and say the covenant no longer exists. How can God speak of guarding in such a tragedy as the Holocaust? That's the great theological challenge. But it's more than just a theological challenge for us. It's a challenge of faith. Will we continue, in light of our history, to follow these laws, follow these commandments, even if one can argue the covenant on the other side wasn't guarded, as has been promised here? I happen to believe that the covenant just changes, and that my understanding of God is is not always consistent with how God is portrayed in the Bible. In fact, I mean, I really believe that that we have to have relationship with God, and therefore God has to be described in terms that we can understand. But perhaps this language is somewhat symbolic of the underlying nexus, the underlying connection between God and all of humankind, which is faith. Faith in something that we cannot see, we cannot touch, we cannot visual, we're not even supposed to visualize. And in that relationship, there is this covenant, and from that covenant grows this sense of purpose that there will be a land designated for us to live in and to observe Torah and to observe the underlying principles of Torah. That's the covenant relationship. And it's not meant to be universal, unlike some other religious traditions. Some religious traditions argue a universalism. While there are universal elements in Judaism, it's not in the sense that our beliefs, our tradition, our laws apply to everyone. They don't. There is a limit. And we understand that sense of particularism. And what is interesting in this verse is chesed. Chesed is loving kindness. That somehow in this covenantal relationship, what undergirds it is a sense of loving kindness. It's often stated in rabbinic texts that God is described in human terms only so that we can emulate God. And of course, the basis for that is we're made in the divine image and likeness. And therefore, what the Torah is teaching us is how to not only approach the covenant, but how to approach one another and how to approach all of humankind, that we stand in a covenantal relationship with all of humankind, and that we stand, and that what undergirds that is a chesed, is acts of loving kindness, or better understood in modern terms, altruism, the doing of things for others with no expectation of anything in return. That's the Jewish definition of loving kindness. Chesed is to do something out of the pureness and goodness of one's heart. And so what undergirds our relationship to God, and God's relationship to us, is chesed. And most important to teach us, what girds our relationship, what should rivet our relationship to one another is chesed, is loving kindness. You can follow the reading of the Torah on page 1379. It's a relatively short reading through page 1380. As is our tradition, we just call people up in groups because we have 3 aliyot. So I'll begin with the people on the left side. There's a few more people on the left side than on the right side. So also, James, will you come up, and the 3 of you come up, and we'll recite the blessings over the Torah. And I'll help you if you don't know. You can just everybody come. Is that okay? No one's getting up.
Oh, our side.
Okay, yeah, please, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Please come, and we'll work through the blessings over the Torah. We have it in the Hebrew as well as the phonetics. So, hold on a second. Okay. So we can either do it right here. That's what we start together. Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. V'haya ekev tishma'un et hamishpatim ha'ele ushmartem v'asitem otam v'shamar Adonai Elohecha lecha et habrit v'et hachesed asher nishba li'avotecha v'yahevecha uverachecha v'herbecha uverach kari vitnecha ufri admatecha degancha v'tiroshcha v'yitzarecha siga alafecha v'yashterot sonecha al ha'adama asher nishba le'avotecha latet lach baruch tiyeh mikol ha'amim lo yevecha akar v'akara uvehemtecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher
natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nota bitochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go with Richard, David, Jevin, and Nate, why don't we wait for you again?
Baruch et Adonai Baruch. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vayed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher barakabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
We're starting on verse 14. Amen. Baruch tiyeh mikol ha'amim lo yevecha akar v'akara uvehemtecha v'heisir Adonai mimcha kol choli v'chol madvei Mitzrayim haraim asher yadata lo yisimam bach nunatanam b'chol sonecha v'achalta et kol ha'amim asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach lo tachos eincha lo aleihem v'lo tavod et Elohechem ki mokeshu lach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Thank you. You did good. We did good.
That's good, Nate and Cody and Kate. Bobby, if you'd like.
Ready, group? Baruch Adonai Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vayed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vayed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ki tomar bilvavecha Rabim Hagoyim Ha'ele Mimeni Echa Ucha Lahorisham Lo Tira Mehem Zachor Tizkor Et Asher Asa Adonai Elohecha Lefaro Lechol Mitzrayim Hamasot Hagadolot Asher Ra'u Einecha Ve'otot V'hamoftim V'hayarach Hazaka V'hazro V'netuya Asher Hotziacha Adonai Elohecha Ken Ya'aseh Adonai Elohecha Lechol Ha'amim Asher Ata Yarei Mipneihem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tachenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
On that side and then comes down. Please rise. That's right. You may be seated. Okay. Thank you, Richard.
You want to?
What's that?
You want to put it down? Put it-
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. You may be seated. We're going to continue now with the Misha Berach prayer. That's on page 371, the prayer for healing.
371. 371.
Right.
Feel free to join with me.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikol habracha leimotzeinu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us
Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. We pray for the healing of Lowell Friedman, Ben Hill, Terry Hawkins, Aaron LeMay, Elaine Berman, Jennifer Guggenbiller, Aline Moran, Joseph Kenny, Lisa Haifizi, Bruce Glover, Larry Miller, Mike Ware, Rick Finn, Emily Fink, Alan Lewis, Sandy Holberg, Sheila Ross, Elizabeth Kaiser, Cheryl Broom, Alice Glass, Pam Fisher, Jennifer and Amy Sundberg, Mark and Hetty Blinderman, Dr. John Johnson, David Cherniak, Lori Weisberg, Harold H. Fink, and Rhoda Bennett. Is there anyone who you would like to add to our list in need of healing?
Mary Bud.
Thank you.
Holly Paloozi.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
And our service continues now with the returning of the Torah to the Ark, and that can be found on page 374. Hallelujah. Please rise. Tehillah lechol chasidav livnei Yisrael am gerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
It's Chaim Hima Kazikima V'Torekeha Meushar Deracheha Darchei Noam V'Chol Nitivoteha Shalom. Ashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chodesh Chodesh Yameinu Chodesh Yameinu
And we remain standing for the Aleinu, page 586.
Aleinu lishabeach Adon hakol, lateit gdula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kiryei haratzon, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo samechakenu kahem, v'gor aleinu
This week we observe the yard sites of Raymond Frankel, Herman Patterson, Anne Hart Bergman, Gwen Lipsitz Metzger, Lillian Mulfelder, Anne Tellis Fink Adachowski, Evelyn Hoffman, and Charles Hoffman. And of course, we observe the Shloshim period for Phyllis Feibelman, who was laid to her eternal rest a few weeks ago. Is there anyone who is observing a yard site that they wish to remember at this time?
My dad, Gerald Schlosser.
Thank you. Please rise for the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabba, bi'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'le'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who establishes peace unto the heavens, grant peace and comfort in the hearts of all who mourn, and let us say, Amen. You may be seated. First, of course, we want to thank our cantorial soloist and Molly, and of course our tech person, Andy, for making these services not only so beautiful, but accessible to those who are unable to be with us this morning, but are here certainly virtually. So we thank you, Andy, for that, and of course, Molly, for leading us in worship this morning. We also want to thank Nate and the Rose brothers for their making such a wonderful breakfast for us this morning. I think it just makes the Shabbat morning so special to come here and just break bread before services. So really, thank you. It's a very special thing. Encourage others to kind of join in. It doesn't always have to be Nate and the Rose brothers. It can be others who would like to sponsor a morning breakfast. It's not all that hard. It's bagels, some cream cheese. Sometimes we get special treats like turkey bacon. I shouldn't really say that word in here, but the turkey strips, we'll call them turkey strips. And and I want to thank David for coming up and helping me with the cover at the end. I had a little trouble with that, so thank you. It's David, right? Richard, right?
Yeah. That's all right, we understand.
No, I think I have it now. I think after 2 years, I think
came up there, not David.
What's that? Oh, did you come up?
Yes.
Oh, I thought David was
You
on.
just weren't paying attention.
Yeah, I was flustered. So thank you for coming up and bailing me out there. Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, once again, I want to say Shabbat Shalom to everyone, and we'll conclude. I had chosen Ein Elohim, but Molly,
That's fine.
is that fine?
Which version?
You're the cantor. I wouldn't.
Would we like to go traditional? We haven't done it in a while. We can go traditional.
Traditional, page 626.
Please join with me. Ein Elohim, ein Elohim, ein
Moshienu, Ata V'Eleinu, Ata Hu Adonenu, Ata Hu Malkeinu, Ata Moshienu. Before I say Shabbat Shalom, in traditional prayer books, there's one added verse that was taken out in the Reform version that is a reference to the beautiful smell of incense while the animals were being sacrificed in the temple. That verse isn't in here, but it's in conservative as well as traditional prayer books that was taken out. For the longest time period, of course, there were references in the traditional prayer books to the rebuilding of the temple, the longing to go back and doing what was in the Torah about sacrifices. In Reform Judaism, that was all taken out in the late 19th century. There was it felt that it was not in keeping with modern sensibilities, so references to the temples and animal sacrifices in particular were taken out. And that's evident here in the last verse being taken out of the Ein Elohim here. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.